On this episode of Best of America by Horseback, we're in Arizona at the Dragoon Mountains, not too far from Tombstone. We took our riders this week to the Cochise Stronghold. We're going to ride up to it through the trails, and you're going to be able to see exactly where Cochise lived. You're going to see as far as you can possibly imagine, and they could see soldiers coming for 3 days. So they could elude, capture, and pursuit for years as they stayed in these mountains. And we're going to take you inside between the rocks where Cochise lived. We're going to be riding with Blue Sky Ranch. They're providing the horses and staying at the Cochise Stronghold Bed and Breakfast. I'm Tom C. Sit back and relax and enjoy this episode of Best of America by Horseback.
Part of this show is brought to you by Tucker Trail Saddles, the world's finest trail saddles and equipment company. By Mill Creek Manure Spreaders, clean stalls in half the time with half the work. By CSI Saddle Pads, designed for your horse's comfort and performance in mind. The difference is amazing. And by Spurs Big Fix, wound, skin, and hoof. The more you use it, the more you'll love it.
Stop wasting hay. Save 30 to 40% of hay wasted in traditional ring feeders with hay feeders manufactured by Clinny Pipe Structures. Built with 10-gauge galvanized steel tubing, these durable feeders weighing over 1,000 pounds are the best built and longest lasting feeders on the market today. Free choice hay is the best feeding option for your horse. To limit hay, simply latch the grills upright. They can be crated and shipped all across the U.S. They also carry a long line of portable run-in shelters in other buildings. Clinny Pipe Structures, family owned and operated since 1949.
On this episode of Best of America by Horseback, Tom C. is riding in the historic Cochise Stronghold area of the rugged Dragoon Mountains of Arizona. These mountains provided a natural fortress for the great Chiricahua Apache chief Cochise and about 1,000 of his followers for almost 15 years. Huge granite boulders, domes, and sheer cliffs provided shelter and great strategic lookouts for the tribe. The only way to get up to Council Rock in the majority of the Stronghold area is by foot or by horseback. On our visit, we stayed right in the Stronghold area at the Cochise Stronghold Bed and Breakfast and rode each day with Blue Sky Ranch owners Bucky and Andrea Buckley, who provided reliable horses for our group and guided our group through this very historic part of Arizona.
We're going to go with you, and actually went with you, on a trail ride up to the divide. Tell me where you are leading us. Talk about the trail. Talk about what people are going to see when they get there.
Well, when you leave from the back right here, it's a little rolling hill. It's kind of tough up and down, and then you hit the ridge. And you'll ride along that ridge for about 3/4 of a mile, and then you start up. That's when it gets a little tougher. A little tougher on the horses, but they can make it. You'll see a lot. You'll be in the trees for a while, and then you get up to what they call the Half Moon Tank. It's an old WPA dam that they put in up there. And as you get above that, country opens up. More rock formations. And then you get to one certain point, you can look down into the valley down here and see a lot of the valley. And you can see just how high up you are. And then you continue on and you get right up to where the east and west divide fence is right there. You could actually start down the other side, go all the way around to Council Rock if you wanted to.
Now, on the second day, you took us riding up to Council Rock. That's where Cochise signed the peace agreement with the Army. Tell us about the trail that you've chosen to take. Is that the original trail? And tell us about Council Rock.
The trail we went on, they call it the Slavin Trail because there's a mine up in there. It was called the Slavin Mine. And we take that one because it's a little easier. A little more open country. You go through a place called Rattlesnake Canyon. That takes you up into Council Rock, where they have all the Indian petroglyphs, where you can actually see where Cochise lived. When you're standing in front of Council Rock and you talk, everybody below you can hear you when you speak. It's like a natural amphitheater. The old story was that they could see Fort Huachuca. It's about 30 miles away, and they could see the dust rising from the cavalry when the cavalry was coming to get them. And they'd see the dust rising, and they just pack up their tribe and move.
How long could they see the dust ahead of time?
Oh, I'm going to say a day, day and a half.
We've ridden horses all over the country with us on our Mexico to Canada ride. You're a Chippewa, so it's an extra meaning for us to be here at the Council Rock. But where we are is a little separate from that. This is where they think that Cochise stayed. What are you thinking when you're here, feeling and seeing the real history?
It's hard to describe because I wonder how they could live off the land like they did. Have to learn where they would find water, where they would find food, how they would care for their children.
When you rode up to this area and you came through the rocks and riding horses, what were you thinking then? Just have chill bumps, I guess.
Yes, and it is so beautiful just to look at and to know that they were riding these hills and these mountains. So it's exciting to ride some of the same terrain in the area.
Tell me about Cochise.
Oh, that would take a long time. You already touched on, he's one of the best known and most famous Native American leaders of the 19th century. And certainly in the Southwest, he was well known. He was a member of the Chiricahua Apache tribe and one of the strong leaders. And throughout their time, they were fairly nomadic and lived and stayed in a number of places. But this was one of his favorite places. And he spent more than a decade fighting the U.S. Army in the 1860s, but in 1872 finally settled with a peace treaty right here in the West Cochise Stronghold with General Howard. That created a reservation. Part of his terms was he didn't want to move anywhere, so he spent the last 2 years of his life living in peace in Cochise Stronghold. It was his favorite place.
He was secretly buried somewhere in or near his stronghold fortress. The exact location has never been revealed or determined.
Back at the event venue, East Fork Stables. Have you ever been to Racking on the Edge? The Highlands and the dream business. Air-conditioned ridgetop horse trails. Out your back door. Tennessee. 4 beautiful seasons. A short, often warm winter. No state income tax. Low property taxes. The Highlands or White Oak. Enough said. Thanks.
We're in the Dragoon Mountains at Cochise Stronghold. From here you can see for miles and miles in every direction. But I want to share with you where Best of America is today, showing you where Cochise stayed. Follow me. From less than 10 or 15 feet away, you can't even see this. This was where it is believed that he stayed. It's sheltered. It's a place where they could stay and see in every direction for miles around. Great hideout. And when you're here, you can feel the history. This is a great place to visit by horseback, and the horses are less than 50 feet away. there was a hideout, and you rode your horse right to it. Tell me about that, Connie.
That was unbelievable. It's nothing, I mean, you read in history books about stuff like that, but to stand there and actually see it and touch it and feel it, it's almost like you could feel the Indians being there. You know, you could visualize them mashing the corn and cooking and all that kind of stuff.
Tell me about what it's like to ride in this historic area.
It's amazing. It's beautiful. It's so much different than riding back in Indiana and that. I mean, to me, this is actually trail riding. The sights that you see are just second to none. And that it's beautiful, beautiful area.
Just rid to the top of the Cochise Stronghold. What do you think?
It's just incredible. I've never been in the desert before riding, and you just pictured the desert as not being attractive at all. It has such incredible beauty. Absolutely gorgeous. Doesn't matter where you go in the country, you find a beauty. And this is definitely a treasure.
You really work at having horses that anyone can ride, whether they're experienced or just beginning. Would you comment on that, the type of breed, the gaits these horses have, their experience?
A lot of our horses we've had for lots of years. We have different kinds of horses. Some are just grade horses. We have quite a few horses that are Tennessee walkers. They tend to be a lot smoother. They're very level-headed. We have quite a few quarter horse crosses. We have some horses that are, they probably have a little Mustang in them. We choose them really for their temperament.
But these horses went straight up these mountains, picked their way through the rocks, and I'm not sure, my horses, which I ride in the Blue Ridge Mountains in a lot of rocky areas, it's a different type of rock here. Right. These horses, you just close your eyes and go to sleep and they'll wake you up when you get there. They just pick their way very carefully. And I just wanted to get that on record, and I compliment you for that. It's excellent. Right. We have trails that are established. They're historic trails, but anyone can ride on those trails. Can you talk about the type of trails you have here, where they go?
We have several different trails. Lots of them do go up, get you to a higher elevation where you can see out over the valley. Some of our trails are a little lower, that kind of goes through some grasslands. We do have rides for beginners that are beautiful scenery, but really they don't ask a lot of the rider or of the horse. Our horses are very capable of doing all different kinds of rides, but it really depends on what people are interested in seeing. There's several caves that we ride through. There's quite a few mines. This was and still is a large mining industry. It was why the town of Tombstone was created, and there's actually still mining going on today. So this area has really provided a lot of minerals for the country throughout the years.
Other than actually riding out of Cochise Stronghold Bed and Breakfast, where are some of the places that you can take people if they want to leave their horses at home and come down here and fly down to Tucson and ride with you? Where are some of the places you can take them?
We can take them to about any place into the Chiricahuas. Specifically, the Chiricahua National Monument is a great ride. Fort Bowie is a great ride for people who want to learn about the history of the area. That's where all the Indian Wars started, right there, right at Apache Pass, Apache Wells. I can get you high in the mountains, almost to 10,000 feet, or I can keep you down to, 6 or 7. And it's very rider friendly, a lot of these trails.
Where we are, if through your eyes, because we may not notice it, but as you ride horses or walk or hike through these mountains, what are the things that you see that we may not see?
Okay. Well, it depends on the year, when the seasons change, the animals change as well. But we have tons of, in regards to wildlife, we have tons of species out here. We have many bat species, over 16 species found in these mountain ranges. And you never know, and along the lines of the edge of the roads or the trails, there could be a jaguar there. That's a protected species that we manage for here. Ocelots, coyotes, mountain lions, coos deer, mule deer, all sorts of game.
The Dude Ranchers Association is celebrating 90 years promoting all-inclusive quality Western adventure vacations, with over 100 ranches west of the Mississippi offering activities like horseback riding, skeet shooting, whitewater rafting, fly fishing, and great children's programs. You are sure to find the perfect location for family reunions, girlfriend getaways, or that vacation of a lifetime. Dude Ranch Association ranches adhere to the highest industry standards. We are all about quality.
We know who made that hitch. We know who cut the steel, who milled the ball, and who welded the seams. We know who tested, measured, and checked. We even know who thought the whole thing up. We're B&W, and we know your hitch. Because we don't make them halfway around the world. We make them all right here. B&W. Trusted.
We stayed with Nancy and John Yates at their Cochise Stronghold Retreat B&B, right in the heart of the canyon. It is small and peaceful, with deer often roaming through the property and birds everywhere. The accommodations are wonderful, and Nancy's meals are superb.
Take me on a brief tour to the different styles of accommodations that are here, that are available.
Well, we're a very small business, so we only have 3 units available, but they're all very beautiful and all quite unique. So in our guest house, which is made of straw bales, is our 2 units, the Agave Suite and the Casita Manzanita. And the Agave Suite is a bed sitting room with a king-size bed, a private kitchenette and bath. This straw bale house is super insulated, very comfortable home.
But straw is the primary mixture.
Straw is the insulation of the walls. On site we have a 30-foot diameter yurt with a wood floor, and it's a walled tent. We can put about 8 to 10 people in there. And it's very comfortable and it's very fun. Kids love it.
You love what you do.
I do love what I do.
And you love all the guests.
I do. I love to make people happy. They need to have, a wonderful vacation. People work very hard. It's important to me that people have rest and relaxation, and that their vacation really truly is restful and relaxing.
You stayed at the Cochise Stronghold Bed and Breakfast.
Oh, yeah.
What did you expect and what is it like?
It's beautiful. I mean, you couldn't ask for any better accommodations. And the food was amazing, and the way you're taken care of and pampered is, it's great.
To touch on that a little bit, the kindness that the staff and Nancy and her husband show it's more than just being in a business. They really like to.
It's like being with family.
Make you feel at home.
Oh yeah, I don't want to leave.
So I want the guests to know a little bit about how they sincerely welcome people here.
The guests that we have, a lot of times are people who have returned. They're people who we keep in contact with. There are people who become essentially friends and people like family. So we both have the same philosophy where we really want people to come in and become friends and become a part of our circle. We really we remember our guests. We encourage our guests to come back, and many of our guests do, time and time again.
The Forest Service has several rental properties in the canyon as part of their Room with a View program. Several of our guests stayed in this home that was once part of a working cattle ranch.
People can get in touch with you through Nancy here at the Bed and Breakfast, or they can call you to ask about horses and riding levels and so forth. How do they get in touch with you?
We offer several different kinds of vacations here in Arizona. We do offer package deals where they stay with Nancy and they get all-day rides depending on how many days they want to stay. We also take out hourly rides if they wanted to stay here, and maybe they chose to only, if there's a family who didn't feel that they were up for an all-day ride, could by all means come and stay with Nancy and ride for 2 hours.
Is there a website?
Absolutely. The www.blueskyranches.com.